afternoon, everybody, and welcome to A Kick in the Balearics. This is episode 5, believe it or not. Episode 5, Mark.
Amazing, Richie, amazing.
Easy, mate, easy. Nice to have you along with us today. We are obviously Zoomcasting, podcasting, and talking about football here in the Balearics, looking at Real Mallorca in our Liga 2, looking at Akitb Baleares, Udi Poblense, Udi Ibiza, and Peña Deportiva in Segunda B. The Tercera division, when it is going to start, and also, obviously, of course, local football. We've got some good local football news coming up a little bit later on as well today. Some good stuff to talk about. But we're going to start on a subject, I think, today that we wouldn't normally touch on because, obviously, La Liga is unfortunately out of our team's reach this year. But we have to start with Lionel Messi, Mark, this week. How are you, by the way?
I'm pretty well, Richie. Good to be with you again, mate. Episode number 5. Congratulations. Well, there's no bigger story in world sport at the moment than Leo Messi. As you know, I mean, we're both massive fans, aren't we, mate? You know, massive fans. I mean, this guy's a phenomenon. But it's an interesting court case, Richie, because let's see what happens. Because I feel sorry for the guy, actually, because under normal circumstances, he'd be able to actually release himself, but because of COVID, he's gone past his 10th of June expiry date. So I don't feel sorry for him. No, we'll talk about his wages shortly. You know, I don't feel sorry for him at all. But I think freedom of movement as well. I really hope Barca give him a free contract because at his age, I think he needs to prove himself to be the best, the GOAT, as your blog was talking about this morning, Richie. He needs to prove himself in another country. And he only needs one good season, Richie. That's all he needs in another country, and then he will be acknowledged as the best player ever. And I really hope that Barcelona make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I've been listening to a lot of reports, and as you say, that he had a contract up to the 30th of June, but he had to let the club know before the end of the 30th of June that he was going to leave. And if he did tell them, they would leave on a free transfer because the season overlapped because of COVID. His lawyers are sort of protesting the fact that it should be 30 days after the season actually finished for Barcelona, which is where this argument is going to come. The only place I can see it being worked out is in a court of law, probably, which is a bit of a shame, considering the services given to that club.
Absolutely, and I really hope that Barcelona fall on their sword here, by the way, Rich, because there's this massive debate about the greatest of all time, and you've got to say that Ronaldo and Messi in modern day. Right, let's forget George Best and that rubbish debate. Listen, George Best he had 4 good seasons. Ronaldo and Messi have been doing it for 16, 17 years, 3 games a week, live TV. I mean, these guys are just the best there's ever been. End of story. Okay. But Ronaldo, I'm not a massive Ronaldo fan. He's done it in England, he's done it in Spain, and now he's doing it in Italy. So there is a argument that he's proved it on every level, yeah? And I don't necessarily disagree with that. So I just hope Barcelona fall on their sword. I'd love to see Messi at Man City. Obviously, I've got a Man City fan in the family. I think if you look at it, Man City is probably one of the 3 clubs in the world, with Paris Saint-Germain and maybe one of the Italian clubs, probably Inter. They're probably the only 3 clubs in the world that can actually afford his wages, which you so rightly pointed out in your blog today. What, 50 mil is it just for his wages? $1 million a week? So I just hope he can go to another league and prove it.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be difficult for any team out there right now. If they want him, they're not going to pay a fee for him because at the moment I think there's been talk of about 200 million fee, or the release clause apparently 700 million, which but there's reports of 200 million. No club in the world, even if you're City or Paris Saint-Germain or Inter Milan, what you've just talked about, is going to pay 200 million and pay him nigh on $1 million in wages.
Well, Richie, let me just go back there. Don't forget, Ronaldo went at 34 at 100 million. Yeah, so there's a precedent for 100 million. There's a precedent there because let's face it, if Messi goes to a club, the club's going to make X amount of money in merchandise straight away. Okay, world merchandise. So there is an argument there that you could probably say, okay, we'll get the transfer fee back with merchandise, and you may get the actual wages back with a Champions League win or victory or whatever. So 100 million is not out of the way, even at 33 years of age, by the way. But 700 million, Come on, mate. That's the debt of some third world countries.
Yeah, but Mike, what we need to take into account here that let me just run through the numbers for you. He's on £988,000 a week. He earns another $9,100,000 per year on image rights. He earns another 13 million a year on possible bonuses. That could be goals, assists, trophies, etc. And he earns another 120 million for a signing on fee and a loyalty fee. Obviously, he's not going to probably get the loyalty fee right now. So there are a lot of other things involved in what this could actually be. And I think what we need to take into account here with this is that whatever he's on, for instance, if he went to the UK, obviously he's on 50% tax as well. Also, that someone's pointed out to me that just because Man City signed Messi and their shirt sales are going to go up, most, and particularly in COVID times, most people are going to buy one shirt. So if they don't buy a Raheem Sterling shirt or a Aguero shirt because they're going to buy a Messi shirt, it doesn't actually change the amount of shirts that you sell. You will have an uptake in shirts because there will be people that will buy a Messi shirt, maybe not a City fan, they're just going to buy a shirt because they want Messi on the back of it. That's a separate thing altogether. So I think that needs to be taken into account. And also what's interesting, and a lot of people have know about this, and I didn't until I heard it, was the fact that in Italy, if he signs a 2-year contract in Italy, the first year of the contract, he gets 50% tax-free.
Okay.
So that's why I think that's why Italy's been mentioned in this. Do you know what I mean? That's why there are more tax breaks in Italy than there are in France and the UK.
I mean, right, Richie? Let's not spend too much time with Messi, but where do you think he's going to go?
Man City.
I think he's going to go to Inter Milan. There you go.
Oh. What with Conte?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Coach Conte.
I've got a feeling he's going to follow Cristiano over there. I don't know why. I just got this gut feeling. I'd love for him to come to City. I think it would be amazing for the Premier League, but I've got a hunch. Anyway, enough of Messi, mate. Let's get on to the proper football.
Proper football. Let's start talking. Let's start where we normally start, Real Mallorca, of course. Funny enough, I was doing a bit of a look at research into the teams that went down 2 years ago, because I don't know if you know, but this week's they've actually got through the final playoffs. Elche are the final team to go up from the Segunda Division last year. Beat Girona in the playoffs in the 96th minute. So Elche are the last team to go up. So I took a look at the teams that went down in 2018/19. Girona finished 5th this year, as we've just heard, lost in the playoffs to Elche. Huesca finished 1st, went straight back up again, and Rayo Vallecano finished 7th, just outside the playoffs. So you look at the 3 teams that go down; they're always the teams that have money because they've had all the the sort of glory of La Liga, and they start off on a better footing than everybody else. So there is an opportunity for Mallorca, I think, to sort of get off to a good start, start playing well, because the thing you find in La Liga too is that quite a lot of teams are on a par with each other. So there'll be a lot of teams beating each other, or there'll be a lot of draws going on. Yeah. And if you could get yourself off to a good start, you've got a great opportunity to get that ahead of everybody else. 2 teams go up, and the next 4 playoff into the playoffs. So there is every chance for Mallorca. And funny enough, I looked at the squad that he's just taken the squad over to Murcia to play in 3 friendly games. And on paper, that squad looks good. We've just been talking about, before we started this, we've just been talking about 2 of the players just been called up for their countries. Budimir's just been called up by Croatia. Valient's just been called up by Slovakia. So on paper, that team looks pretty good, to be perfectly honest. If he could keep that team together and get them playing how they were playing under Moreno, not in La Liga, but in Segunda B, I think they've got every chance to go back up again.
Well, let me just pick on 2 points there, Richie. First of all, I agree with you. The start of this season is absolutely crucial for Mallorca because, as we know, at any level, you need a good start. So it doesn't matter, just get a scrappy win. Just get the 3 points off the first game, or even if you're away, even get a draw. It doesn't matter, just don't lose the first game, okay? Then you go in. I haven't seen the fixtures. I'm not sure who you've got first.
Don't they've come out yet? No.
I'm not sure you've got first up, but it doesn't matter. Don't lose the first game. Listen, 5 points out of 3 games. It doesn't matter. Just do not lose those first 1 or 2 games, and then scrap for your life, and then all of a sudden the confidence will come back. Secondly, your 2 call-ups to international teams are massive. because that gives the squad a whole lift. That gives them an importance within that squad of being an international player. Now, we're not talking about Dominica, or we're not talking about the Bahamas here. We're talking about Slovakia and Croatia. Croatia were the world finalists 2 years ago. Okay, so if is Bodimir, isn't it? Yeah, Bodimir's.
Yeah, Bodimir.
He's been called up. He's got to be a good player. Doesn't matter. So that will give Real Mallorca's squad a massive lift, and I think it will be a springboard. Now, I don't want to go too mad, Richie, but I've been looking at the squad as well. I was just looking there before you came on Football Balearic squad. I think you've got a massive chance, but you've got to have a strong start.
I agree. The only thing I would say with the call-ups for these two highlights the fact that they are good players, and maybe they're playing in a slightly weaker division than they could be actually playing in La Liga, particularly Bodimir. You know, he scored 13 goals last year in a team that, you know, eventually got relegated. There will be teams, and we know there are teams, sniffing around. We talked about this last week. You know, there's apparently a buyout clause of 15 million. We both probably think that's a little bit too much, but you know, now becomes an international player, has a good game or scores a goal. All of a sudden, everybody's going to be looking at him again. You know what I mean? So
I don't think Richie, I don't think you want to look negatively at these things as well, because you know, you can't keep the good players down anyway. Look at your playmaker in the middle. You know, he's your what's his name? Your playmaker.
Salva Sevilla.
Yeah. He's your main man as well. He doesn't look like he's going anywhere. So I don't think it's a negative. I think it's a massive positive. Okay, if someone comes in with 15, 16 million, it's very tough to turn down, and maybe you can then reinvest that again. But I don't think it's a negative. I think it's a positive. It shows that Mallorca have got the potential to bounce straight back. And as with your stats there, because I know you love a stat, Richie. You know, you love looking at those stats. Doesn't matter what the stats say, mate. Get the points on the board.
Yeah, it was nice to see the two young boys in the squad as well. Luca Romero, we've talked about on the radio before, and also Rafael Obrador, who's a 16-year-old boy who's got into the squad as well, which is good news. I like.
Listen, I want to be speaking about Romero every week from now, and I want to see him. I want to see game time for him. I want to see him get his first goal in Segunda B, because I think, as I said, this boy's going to be massive. So, and he's an Ibiza boy, so let's be following him. Rising star, Luca Romero. Get him on the pitch, pal. Get him on the pitch.
Just one final thing for Mallorca is they've gone through 10,000 season ticket holders now. 10,000 season ticket holders have renewed, which is good. It's 10,000. Well, the last count was 10,132, so that's good news. Let's hope that number keeps going up. If you are, if you weren't a season ticket holder and you want to buy a ticket, you can from the 1st of September.
Fantastic. Great numbers, mate. Let's just get to the stadium. Can't wait for the football season to start. Come on.
No, me neither. Mark, let's move to Ibiza. Let's talk about Udi. They released their new kit this week. Now, I was of the impression that Udi were like a bit of a Man City copycat, do you know what I mean? And went with the sky blue. But I don't know if it's the picture that I saw or the light wasn't good enough, but it looked like it was a bit darker than sky blue.
I can confirm that it is exactly the same colour as last year, Richie. I've seen it up close and personal. I think it was just a little filter on that camera. There's not a lot of difference with it, mate. Just a little white collar there as well. But they've released the kit. They've got a really nice training kit this year as well. So no, it's exactly the same. A couple of signings this week, Richie. We've got Fonderella has come in from Orihuela. He's quite a big signing, and we've got a few other kind of rumoured people to be coming in as well. So things are happening, mate. In my world, it's happening at Udi at the moment. I think it's only the start.
Yeah, I saw a couple more. A centre forward called Ekain.
We spoke about him last week. Yeah, he was the big one last week. Yeah, he came.
Manu, an attacking midfield player called Manu Molina as well.
Molina as well. Yeah, Molina there as well. So he's come in from Linense, the Segunda B, and I think it's going to be it's only the start. It's like the merry-go-round of players, isn't it, the Segunda B? Because there's no actual fees being paid, is there? It's all freebies.
It's all frees, yeah.
It's all freebies. They're all moving. They're mainly, some of them are loan players. They get the good second-string loan players as well. So I think it's only the start, mate. I think the UD team that starts this year is going to be very different to the one that finished last year.
Any news from Peña?
Yeah, we just signed. Sorry, I got it wrong before. So Fonderella signed for Orihuela for Udi. No, sorry, Fonderella signed for Peña. My mistake. Sorry. I was getting excited there. Fonderella today just announced, literally about 10 minutes before we came on air, he's come from Orihuela. Seems to be a bit of a buzz about the guy as well. So now that Kasani's back at Pena, I'm expecting a few more names in there as well. And Kasan's got a really good knack of finding these good players who are undervalued at other teams and really bringing them through.
A couple of bits of news from the two teams in Segunda B over here. Atletico Balearics started pre-season on Monday and went through all the normal fitness tests and COVID tests. But they're very excited by a left winger they just signed called Danny Pitchin.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Pitchin,
Yeah,
he's come from... where did he come from? He come from, I think it was Leonesa. That's where he's come from. But he's played for Ponferradina and Real Majadahonda in Segunda B, and both teams he played for, he helped them go up to Segunda. So they seem to be very excited by this one. It gave a big fanfare when he arrived at the club. So we'll keep our eyes out for him. And then Udi Poblensi. What Udi Poblensi? I think they're going to be the ones that haven't got a lot of money, a bit like Pena, to be perfectly honest. And it looks like what they're doing is they're re-signing all the players that helped them to their unbeaten run last year, basically. They went through the season unbeaten up to the point of COVID happened, Poblense. Oscar Troya, who's their manager, said on Spanish radio this week, the first objective of the season is to win our first game. That was basically what he said, and which I think we all agree. If you can get off to a good start, then
it's got to be the quote of the week, Rich, hasn't it? It's got to be the quote of the week, isn't it? We've got to win our first game. I mean, I like that one. Well done, mate.
Yeah. So let's move to local football now. I don't know what's happening over in Ibiza, but over here there's been a bit of a sort of stop and go start to the youth team starting. Most in my boys' team, San Francisco, Juvenil have started training. They've been training since the beginning of August, but all the cadets keep getting put back a week, and they've been put back a week for about the last 3 weeks. As far as we're aware, this coming Monday, the cadets will start. They've been told by the government that they can do obviously fitness work, but they can't do physical. I can't think of the word now. They can't
do. I'm with you, mate. They can't do. They basically can't touch, can they? That's the thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So
it's going to be
non-touch football.
It's non-contact. It's going to be non-contact, isn't it?
That's it. That's.
It's going to be non-contact, which I mean, I don't know how long this is going to last for, Rich, but I mean, it's getting slightly ridiculous now, isn't it? Let's leave the COVID aside. They're either playing or they're not, aren't they? So we've got to have some. We've got to have some kind of structure here as well. Can I just go? Sorry, Richie. I'm just going to go back to the third division now as well, because
of course.
Sorry about that. One thing I wanted to mention is I see that Mallorca want to now have 2 teams going to the third division. Yeah, they're there now. If you've noticed on our show, which is 5, we don't actually mention any Mallorca teams, do we?
No, we don't. And
there's a reason why, isn't there? There's a reason why. It's because there's no one really to mention.
No, there's a couple, because obviously I went over there for a tournament a couple of years ago, and we did play a Menorcan team, but for the life of me, I can't remember their name.
Well, we need somebody to kind of get really annoyed with
your mate Simon. We'll ask Simon, shall we?
Well, we need somebody who out of our 15 viewers, we need somebody, right, who actually really is annoyed at us for not mentioning Menorca, because we don't seem to mention Menorca. We mentioned Formentera, the smallest island, but I read on in the press yesterday that basically Menorca are pushing for 2 places for the third division going up. So they usually get 1, which is pretty poor, really, in a was it a 20 league, 20 team group, that they get 1 team. They're looking for 2 teams there as well. So we really need some Menorca teams in there as well, don't we? So so let's hope that happens. Going back to what you said before with the local football, we just need. I know we've got to be safe and sure as well, but I'm noticing, I don't know about you, Rich, but every day there's news that players are testing positive in certain. I think UD, 2 players are tested positive today. I think Atletico Balearics had a couple tested positive as well. So this thing isn't going to go away, I'm afraid, but we do need some form of plan so we know where we are. Because I think, the football will be the feel-good factor, mate. When we get back, let's get the feel-good factor there, because as soon as we get back to watching football in the Balearics, it will make us all feel a lot, well, especially the dads out there anyway, it will make us all feel a lot better.
Yeah, and we're talking, physical activity out in the open air as well. It's not as if this is in a closed space. This is open air. Yeah, I agree. We do want to keep an eye on the cases and everything else, but I think we both know we study the numbers quite significantly in other things that we do, and right now, yes, there is an increase in numbers. They are calling it a second wave. I wouldn't be. I think second wave is a bit strong, a word to use, mainly because obviously they're doing a lot more testing, the borders are still open, and a lot of the cases they're saying are asymptomatic, which, a lot of people actually don't actually know they've got the thing in the first place. And the other thing is the death rate isn't going up dramatically either. The death rate has remained pretty much, it's been one or two. Nobody condones a death or anything like that. It's not a good thing. But we have to be clear on, or we have to be shown to be clear on what's actually going on out there.
Well,
our lives can't come to a stop again.
Yeah. Well, this is a football show, so I'm going to stick on football, not politics as well. I totally agree with you. But I'm going to say the importance of children and adults and playing football. We need to get back on it, mate. It's obviously this thing isn't going to go away, so we have to accept that a few people are going to test positive now and again, because it's a virus, and that's what virus does. But I just hope that Football Balearic have a plan, because me and you were thinking the 1st of October, aren't we? Really, to start. I just hope we can start on the 1st of October. If we're waiting for zero numbers and zero positives, then that's not going to happen. Yeah. What I don't want us to do is every time there's a positive test within the sporting sphere of Balearics, we'll panic. All that kind of dad's army. Don't panic. Listen, it's a virus. People are going to test positive, but as you said, they're low symptoms, asymptomatics. Let's get them isolated. Let's carry on with the football. Let's not wait any longer, because football is very important for our islands, and we need to get back in there as well. And the youth football in Ibiza, Formentera, Mallorca, and Menorca is so important. I know I keep banging on about it, and yourself through your children. I know myself through my children. The sport is so important for the kids. They were locked up for too long. Yeah, it was, in my opinion, it is only my opinion, it was too long for the children to be locked up. We don't want to go back there, and we want to allow them to go back on the sporting field.
Thought you said, do you want to get too political on me?
No, that wasn't. I've stayed on football there, mate.
All right, so let's finish today on a really, really positive note, because this comes from youth football. I think this is a fantastic story. Two boys who one played in Menorca, one played here in Calvia, actually, began his career in Calvia, in Son Caliu. Then both of them went off to play for San Francisco in the Division Honor in the 2017-18 season. Both got transferred to Real Madrid, and have just played in the team that's just won the UEFA Youth League. They won by 3-2 against Benfica. The names are Xavi Sintes and Pablo Ramon. And it just goes to show that with all hard work and dedication, players from this island can achieve great things. And those two boys have done a fantastic thing. And they're being coached right now by Raul, of all people. Yeah, he's looking after the under-19 team. He was looking after the Castilla team as well, which is the Real Madrid B team as well. But he has taken on the under-19 team. And they've just beaten Benfica in the UEFA Youth League. If you go onto the Real Madrid Twitter pages, I know you love to do, Mark, then it's all over their Twitter right now. They're so happy for these boys, and particularly obviously for Mallorca and Menorcan football as well, which we don't talk about Menorcan football enough, as you say. It's fantastic, and as I say, it's great news for the islands and local football.
Hey, what an amazing story to finish on, Richie, because as we say every week, there's amazing talent in the Balearics. We know that when the kids get to a certain age, there are other things they can actually kind of fall off the bandwagon. The Balearics, as beautiful as it is, can have other distractions, but an amazing story. And that just goes to show for all the young kids out there, your children, my children, everyone else's kids out there as well, if you work hard and you focus on your football And just because you're from the Balearics and maybe you're not on the mainland, it doesn't mean you're going to be passed by. If you've got the talent, and more importantly, you've got the dedication, that's the most important thing, because there's a lot of talented kids out there that never make it because they never have the dedication. So, and I'm saying this loud because I've got my son listening, by the way.
Yeah, and I make my sons watch it afterwards.
Exactly. So it's all about the dedication, desire. So fantastic story to finish on, Richie. Let's have a lot more of that for Balearic football. Let's get them out there.
Just to remind you that obviously you can catch up on this on YouTube and as a podcast on SoundCloud. But also just to let you know, we have just launched on Spotify. You can download us on Spotify now. I had a little look at that last night. We are waiting to get a clearance from Apple on iTunes and also from the TuneIn Radio app, which will put us on all your smart speakers as well. So you'll just be able to tell your smart speaker to play a kick in the Balearics and you'll be able to hear that directly as well. So onwards and upwards, mate. We're getting bigger as we go. Absolutely. And a little sniff of a sponsor as well coming.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to happen, mate, isn't it? As soon as they listen to our banter, mate, the sponsor.
It's an inspiring choice. So let's see if that comes off. But it's all good things. All good things happening. I look forward to speaking to you next week. Don't forget you can tune in to me and Martin on the radio. We missed out this week. Martin was away on his ollie bobs again. You know, he gets around, young Mark.
Allegedly.
Hey? Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah. You talking to centre halves again?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This is how I used to play.
Making sure that he wasn't misrepresented. But no, every Tuesday on the radio we talk about higher football on the radio, but this is all about Balearic football.
Good, mate. Listen, Mark, thanks very much. Take care. I'll speak to you next week.
Cheers, Richie.
Bye, mate.